Welcome to, finally, the next episode of the Firmware Update, episode 146. I'm one of your hosts, Malcolm Spinedi, one of your hosts for the Firmware Update, your source for all the news, reviews, and everything under the PlayStation sun. And joining me, as well, finally, Joe Garcia.
Yep, I'm here. I am here.
Folks, we as we said, we knew there would be a hiccup at some point with this, and as I explained in our little apology, in my little apology podcast, that hit last week. We didn't have the time, which is why we're here a little bit early now to get you caught up in all the news this week.
It's weird that we're recording this on Wednesday. I feel like something's going to happen today or tomorrow, and we're going to immediately regret recording on it.
Well, to be fair, a lot of stuff happened last week, so there is no victory, Joe. News never stops. Okay. That just means we'll talk about it next week.
Yay.
Or worst case, we could do like an emergency recording and just talk about that.
We barely have time to do this. We're going to do emergency recording.
That's true. Hey, Joe, what have you been playing?
Unfortunately, not a whole heck of a lot. I got Project Cars when it came out last week, but I've barely been able to touch it. But I mean, it's a really pretty game. It's damn pretty.
The pictures on the back of the box are amazing.
Well, I mean, I said I did play a little bit of it.
Oh, okay.
No,
it's on the shelf. So this morning I took off the shrink wrap. That's an important step in playing the game. No. Well, you've gone farther than me. I picked up Witcher 3 last night. Mm-hmm. Got the big-ass collector's strategy guide and all that comes with an extra compendium of all the history and characters of the game. Really, really super stoked to play it, but unfortunately I got home at like 11 last night and I was wiped. I actually worked it felt like a 9 or 10 hour day yesterday, which didn't help that, a customer comes in 5 minutes to close, of course, and wants to port a number. And I was wiped, and then I went to bed. Woke up in time to do this podcast.
Right.
But, I'm really super stoked to play Witcher 3. I'm going to be able to play it until 3 o'clock this afternoon, because that's when I'm doing another podcast with that guy I was telling you about named Fro from Norwegia. Mm. And I'm going to be on his Let's Talk Then podcast again, so keep an eye out for that. And, by the way, I helped him on iTunes and get on Stitcher Radio finally, so quite proud of myself. I'm helping people, Joe. I'm making a difference. But trust me, Witcher 3, a review for that's incoming, as I guess review for Project Cars is coming, so wins all around. Well, folks, we've got a week and a half of news to go over. Typically we shoot the shit some more, but we have to jump right into it as we got plenty to talk about, including Konami being once again assholes, amongst other things. So let's go to the news. Alrighty, Joe. Let's start shoveling through here. Making that way, building that tunnel, escaping to freedom. Now, Joe, don't know what I'm talking about. Joe, what happened?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What happened last week?
Well, last week last Thursday was the usual release of the monthly MPD reports. So we've got the report for April 2015. I'll tell you all about it just as soon as I goes up.
It was a month of upsets. Or okay, it wasn't a full month. There was one big upset, and I think you already know what I'm talking about. Video game wise, not a shocker.
Okay, well, okay, hold on. I got it right. Okay. So I mean, I guess the big part of it is that the Xbox One did usurp the PlayStation 4's top spot in hardware for the month.
Kind of surprising.
For reasons not known to me.
Like there wasn't a big sale, there wasn't a big release.
Yeah, so. The big releases were multi-platform. So
it's not like a new Call. If a new Call of Duty came out, I'd be okay. I guess you could go with that. But I don't know. It just won one day. As a PlayStation fanboy, that kind of sucks. But at the same time, it's about time they won. I mean, they haven't had a victory since Christmas, if I recall.
I think it was January.
Somewhere. Yeah, I count January as part of Christmas, or the holiday season, I should say.
I mean, you can go ahead and do that, even though
that is completely true.
That is completely incorrect.
If you work in retail, Joe, it is 100% correct. Okay.
If I recall, Christmas does not fall in January.
Holiday season, I said. Holiday season.
Mm-hmm. You he said he'd include it with Christmas. So, I mean,
it's included because because the holiday season is supposed to be one goddamn day, okay? It's supposed to be Christmas. Maybe if you want to be somewhat technical, Christmas Eve, but that's about it. But no, retail decides to ruin it. It's an entire freaking 3-month span. In fact, it's even taking over Thanksgiving. You can believe it. People have to work now on Thanksgiving because the bloody holiday season. I work in retail, folks. So there is that, unfortunately. But going right back to it, yeah, it's kind of a shocker, and good for Xbox. Do you think this is going to be do you think this is the start of them just flip-flopping the number one seed?
Maybe. Probably. I mean, there's not, like, everything releasing between now and the fall is pretty much multi-platform. You got The Witcher this week, you got Batman in a couple of weeks or a few weeks. Well, I guess those are the big tentpole releases for the year. But yeah, like, those are both multi-platform games. So I don't know what this really means.
And the only PlayStation exclusive that I could think of that's coming is that slasher video game. What was it called again?
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. Thank you. I can't believe I keep forgetting that. But yeah, which doesn't even have an official release date. It's a release window, which could easily get delayed. I mean, so that's the only thing on the horizon. So I'm trying to think of something that would be like a home run for Sony, and unless they get a deal with Call of Duty that makes a whole bunch of Xbox guys go, huh? I don't know. But, yeah, we'll see. I think this could be the start where it starts flip-flopping now, because now people remember back in the day when Nintendo DS was selling insane numbers. But keep in mind, that's a handheld. You could easily buy, like, depending on the household, you could buy, like, 3 of them per household, depending on how many kids you have. But, with a console, you really only need 1, maybe 2.
Says the guy with, like...
Yeah, that's why I said maybe 2. Maybe 1 for different rooms. But at this point, PlayStation 4 was at, last time I checked, 22 million. That's pretty saturated. So we'll see.
On the software side, Mortal Kombat X was the top selling game. The PS4 version leading the way. So again, weird that Xbox won. Let's see. Followed by GTA 5 at number 2, Battlefield Hardline holding strong at number 3, MLB 15 The Show at number 4, also holding strong. Both those last Battlefield and MLB being March releases. Minecraft holding on at number 5 because of course it is. NBA 2K15 at number 6, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare at number 7, Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin debuting at number 8. I think it came out in April, right?
Yeah. That's not bad for that.
Yeah. PS4 version of that also leading. That's interesting. Super Smash Brothers continues strong at number 9, and Borderlands: The Handsome Collection rounds out the top 10.
Now, you said which version of Mortal Kombat X led the way?
PS4.
Okay. Makes no sense. All right. All right, but Mortal Kombat X, that's not, like I said, that's not a huge shocker.
No.
It's Mortal Kombat, it's like, of course it's going to win, but yeah, it's a good game too. So
think of all the vault keys that they've sold.
Oh, man. Man. So yeah, so not surprising set of numbers there. Half of it as far as the video games go. Mortal Kombat leading the way, like I said, and yeah, everything's about right. Anything interesting takeaways for you on that one, Joe?
Bloodborne is completely absent from the top 10, even though it released in the last week of March. You would think most of the sales would, like, it showed up on the March NPD, and it sold like 1 million in the first week or whatever.
Go ahead.
But it's completely absent from the top 10 in April, where you would have thought that the game would have shown up, or at least would have been able to sustain a position in the top 10, seeing as how, even though it released in March, that was only like a week that it had to sell there. So it's weird that it's completely out. And Dark Souls 2 is leading the way on PS4 at number 8.
Yeah, to me, that's not surprising, because I've said several times back when, Bloodborne was coming out, that I couldn't tell you if it was going to sell well or not, because the Bloodborne games or the Souls games are kind of niche. Like, it's not mainstream like NBA 2K by any stretch of the imagination. So, while I was really happy to hear how well it sold, at the same time, I think it's one of those games that, if you were interested, you bought it when it came out. Like, I don't see this, like, continuing this. I think everyone who wanted it got it. As for Dark Souls 2, Sin of the First Scholar,
wow. Try again?
Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin?
Yes. What? Man, that was terrible. Sin of the the first column.
Well, that makes sense too. Stop it.
It really does.
I think that a lot of that, I think it being where it is now is like so many people bought Bloodborne and like, I don't have money for that. I'll wait till next month to get it, and they got it. So, or in this case, 3 months for 2 months or whatever. But yeah, that's my takeaway from it.
Okay. Let's see. We've also got some digital numbers from the PlayStation Store. The top sellers for April 2015.
Come on, Sword Art Online. Come on.
Let's see. Hold on a second. That would be number 7 on the Vita.
Yeah, keep it up there.
Let's see. On the PS4, Mortal Kombat X again leading the way. Bloodborne is at number 2 there.
Oh, there you go.
MLB 15, The Show at number 3. GTA 5 at number 4. Shovel Knight at number 5. That's very nice. Outselling Minecraft at number 6.
Fuck you, Minecraft.
Borderlands at number 7, or Borderlands: The Handsome Collection at number 7. Battlefield Hardline at number 8. Axiom Verge at number 9. And Dark Souls 2 rounding out the top 10 for PS4. So that's neat. Like I remember, when this list came out for March, Axiom Verge was not on it, but it was pretty much the same thing as Bloodborne, where it released, like literally like the last day or two of the month. So it didn't really have a chance to chart. So nice to see it reach number 10 or number 9 on the list for April.
I do like what they did with Shovel Knight, by the way, where I don't know if you know, but if you got on PS4, you got this hidden boss as Kratos, which is actually a pretty insane fight. And in Xbox, since they own Rare, the hidden boss is you get to take on all 3 Battletoads.
Ugh, that suck.
Indeed, and you get to play all those ridiculously hard levels because that's what people quote unquote loved about those games.
God,
how they purposely made a game next to impossible.
Like, here's a secret: you don't actually like Battletoads. A terrible game, terrible people.
I remember it was such a big deal when they announced it too. It had this big spread on Nintendo Power. Yeah. Oh God,
big ass Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that's what they were.
That's literally what they were. And it's like, hey, what if we took the Ninja Turtles and made them completely unappealing? And here you eat it up, nerds.
And they had no personality. Like I couldn't tell you the differences between Pimple, Rash, or Zitz, those are the 3 Battletoads.
And the long lost Force brother Taint. Here's Hemorrhoid, the redheaded step cousin.
It's like the biker mice from Mars literally had more personality.
Anyway, on PS3, GTA 5 was the top game there, followed by Minecraft, Batman Arkham Origins, GTA 4, and MLB 15 The Show, rounding out the top 5. Let's see, the top 5 Vita games have been Shovel Knight at number 1. That's real nice. Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate, number 2. MLB 15 The Show, Minecraft, and One Piece, rounding out the top 5. There you go.
Yeah, One Piece usually does good numbers, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, people really like that One Piece.
Mm-hmm. It's on episode like 500 or something. It's like I think it's gone on even longer than Naruto at this point because Naruto finally ended. I don't know if you know.
Why would I know that?
There's like in the anime world there used to be the big 3, which was Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. And One Piece was there before them, and it lasted both of them. Bleach is gone too. So my gosh. All right, moving on.
All right. Let's see. For those of you looking to the future of virtual reality on PlayStation, apparently there is a possible launch window coming up for Project Morpheus. According to a Japanese newspaper reported that the company is hoping to release the device before June 2016, though it's unclear if it is just in the Japanese market or worldwide. Of course, E3 is right around the corner. Sony's press conference is on the 15th of June, so that's, 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks away. So if we hear about a solid date or a release window, that would definitely be the time to hear about it.
I'd imagine, yeah. If we're going to hear anything, either that or that Paris, France one. They're not going to show. But this randomly Paris, France. Here's the release window. You sons of bitches. We sent no one there to cover it. I'd agree with you there. If we hear if there's anything to announce, we'll hear it there. Unless they're doing another PlayStation experience, I can imagine them wanting that to be like the showcase announcement if they do that. But
no, this is the kind of thing where they'd want as much mainstream press to cover it as possible. So.
Yeah, I guess so. That'd be like them doing a Sony Xperia announcement at the PlayStation experience. Imagine playing your games. Get that shit out of here. So what do you think? Do you think this is the actual release window we're getting, Joe?
Well, I feel like I've heard something before saying that they were kind of leaning towards, before June 2016 or early 2016 as well. So, yeah, I think that might be correct. I mean, they announced Project Morpheus about a year ago now, or a little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm pretty sure they've been working on it for a good while before that. So, yeah, I think that's realistic.
And I'll admit, I'm kind of excited because I've yet to hear anything bad about it because they've been aggressively showing it at like conventions and what have you, and everyone who's played it, has like a positive takeaway from it.
And it seems that Sony really wants to get some decent games out there because they also founded a new studio in the northwest part of England called, appropriately, Northwest Studio. And it's dedicated pretty much exclusively to making first-party Project Morpheus games.
I can only imagine how much thought went into the name of that studio. Right? It's like, what do we call ourselves? Well, we are in the Northwest.
Well, I mean, from what I've gathered over the course of corporate history, like, so long as you don't go with an outright terrible name, it doesn't really matter what you call your company. Like, I mean, like in the 60s and 70s, people were literally just putting their name on the company. Like, the company is called last name. Oh, okay. And that went well for most people. So it really doesn't matter. So long as it's not called freaking, I don't know, something terrible.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone's going to have a kick-ass name like Naughty Dog or something like that,
Naughty Dog isn't a particularly kick-ass.
I think it's pretty kick-ass.
It is very much a product of, we're two teenage dudes who founded the studio in our garage. What would be cool? Naughty Dog.
What do we call ourselves? Oh, shit, your dog just shit in the garage. That's a Naughty Dog. Wait.
Naughty Dog's name betrays the actual talent of that studio.
I think it's fine. I mean, it's catchy. I mean, you say that now, but whenever you hear and now an announcement from Naughty Dog, your ears perk up just like a dog would when it's.
What you're saying is that we've been trained to accept
exactly
through repetition.
Indeed, okay, what's like? Can you think of any game studios that you thought name was dumb and then you just sort of accepted it?
Well, Naughty Dog is up there.
No.
Let's see, Sucker Punch maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of a cheesy name. You know which name I'm still struggling to accept, just because I'm that old school, I guess. Square Enix, because in my mind it's still SquareSoft.
Yeah.
Hey, it's still SquareSoft. I'm sorry, it's like Square Enix. That just sounds weird. Anything else that springs to mind?
For the story, or are you still on this game studio thing?
I was still in the game studio thing.
Because I have nothing for neither.
Like Santa Monica, that Santa Monica Studios, that's just lazy. We're in Santa Monica, that's what it's called.
Like I said, it doesn't matter as long as it's not there.
All right, so going back to the Morpheus and them getting their own studio, that would be pretty cool. That's cool. That shows like actual effort. But then again, Joe, it's only one studio. So what do you think?
Well, I'm pretty sure other studios are going to integrate support for the VR headset for whatever they're working on currently. But it is nice to have a dedicated studio.
Yeah. Now, going back to an earlier question, how much do you think this headset is going to cost at launch?
I can't see it being less than $300.
Really? I think that's going to be what it's going to be too. I'm praying that they find a way to make it like maybe 200, but yeah, I think that the safe bet is 300. To be fair, if Apple can release a smartwatch for $10,000 and get away with it, I think they'll be fine with 300.
I don't think that's equivalent. That's a false equivalency you're making there.
That is not a false. They do sell the iWatch for $10,000.
Yeah, but they're selling that to mega rich idiots, whereas the regular consumer model is significantly less than that.
Hey, my point is, no one's complaining
like
about that.
Like that will be an equivalent if Sony decides to release a gold plated one for $10,000 as well. Then you can say that.
Or it would still, you know what? It's still cheaper than the iWatch. The iWatch is at minimum $349, and that's a stupid watch that you can get for cheaper. And if you have to spend that much, you can do more on Android. But that's fine. All right, so 300. I think that's a safe bet too. And I'll be very, very interested to see what they have. Like, imagine you remember the game Deep Down. Mm-hmm. What if that's a Morpheus game? Shut up. Imagine.
I'm not going to imagine.
I literally just said imagine. It's like it's not.
No, I refuse to imagine. That game's probably not even gonna come out, so why bother?
I think it's already out in Japan. I've seen like 10-minute gameplay videos of it. So.
It's called Bloodborne. Play that instead.
It's different, trust me.
Oh yeah, it'll be loaded with microtransactions. That'll be worth replaying.
I've not seen a single microtransaction. You're like, technically,
it is a free-to-play game, Malcolm. How do you expect Capcom to make any money?
How do I think they're going to make? Oh, of course, there's going to be some microtransactions.
Well then,
you know how you counter that? You just make it cost $60, and there you go. Make all the money back. All right, what's the next story?
Well, speaking of Project Morpheus and when we would expect it to be announced,
can you sound any more depressed for this story?
Sony's
of Project Morpheus.
Yeah, there you go. Just step on my transition. Sony's E3 press conference has a time and date firmly set. The press conference will take place on Monday, June 15th, so the Monday of E3, as per usual, at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern in the LA Memorial Sports Arena, where it's been held for the last few years, I think.
Thus continuing the Sony tradition of interrupting my Monday Night Raw viewing.
Yeah. Let's see. I want. Let's see. That's 8 p.m. for me. I hope I don't close that day. Probably not. I rarely close. Yeah. They make me close on E3 day.
Well, can you switch with people? Like switch shifts at Best Buy?
Yeah, but people are constantly looking to switch schedules. It's always like this. The people because we've got a new supervisor. We're getting a new supervisor, and our schedules have been handed off to other people in the interim.
God.
So it's been real. But all of that is irrelevant discussion. So I mean, with that, on top of this, Square Enix rescheduled their press conference, and not by much. Like it's still on the same day, June 16th, but they moved it forward or back 1 hour. It was originally scheduled to take place at 9 a.m. Pacific. It will now take place at 10 a.m. Pacific. Undoubtedly, in response to Nintendo's announcement that their digital event would have been held at the same time, and of course, Nintendo, being the bigger presence at E3, it's probably wise for Square Enix to move their thing. Although it's weird that they could just move a whole press conference like that because they have to rent Square Enix's conference isn't like Nintendo's where it's like just a video that they're streaming online.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not an E3 presence. They're just like releasing a video at that same time.
But you would imagine that many more people would be watching than Nintendo.
Sorry to say, but you're absolutely right about that. It's hard to be excited for E3 when Nintendo's. Oh, poor Square.
So with all that out of the way, I think we've pretty much got all of the press conferences locked in. So on Sunday, Bethesda will be doing theirs on June 14th at 7 p.m. Pacific. On Monday, the next day, Microsoft in the morning at 9:30 Pacific, EA at 1 p.m. Pacific, Ubisoft at 3, and Sony closing out the day at 6 p.m. Pacific. And then the next day on Tuesday, June 16th, Nintendo kicks things off at 9 Pacific in the morning. Square Enix an hour later at 10, and then some PC gaming show at 5 p.m. according to this IGN article, which it literally just has PC gaming show at 5 p.m. I don't know who's exactly hosting that. So if you're into PC gaming, there you go. Check that out, I guess. Yep.
So there it is. There's the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you excited, buddy?
Of course, I can't not be excited.
The E3 shows of the firmware update, for those of you just joining us, those are huge shows. Like last year, we actually had to split the episode into three little mini episodes, one for each conference. I actually had a lot. To me, it's like covering a pay-per-view back from when the days I used to do that on some awful wrestling show that I was once a part of. But anyway, so I'm really stoked about it. Sony, they usually Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. Last year's, all three of them were really good, I thought.
They kind of have to be because especially Nintendo, they've kind of been. Last year's was good, and that kind of started off an upward trend, I think, for them. Like, I think they've been doing pretty well since that E3 conference.
We'll see, though, because, like, last year, that's when I said, hey, there's a Zelda coming in 2015, and now not so much. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be hard for Sony to beat what was that E3 when they announced the specifics about the PS4.
That was 2013.
Oh, my God, Joe. That was so amazing. That was a wrestling event at that point. It was so Sony chant cattle. So yeah, I'm super stoked too. Of course, this means that it's going to be super note taking time because when we're doing the reviews, I go through every single moment, which usually means I have to rewatch stuff twice, maybe 3 times, and that's dependent if they put the stupid conference up on YouTube, which for some reason they didn't do at the PlayStation Experience, which is why we didn't have the big play-by-play from that one. Oh man, but yeah, I can't. All right, Joe is pausing because he wants me to move on. So moving on.
Let's see. The Assassin's Creed reveal that we were talking about a couple weeks ago. The setting was pretty much spot on, Victorian London, but the name of the game was slightly different. I guess they decided to change it up post-leak. It is no longer Assassin's Creed Victory. It is now Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and that is launching in the usual Assassin's Creed window of late October, specifically October 23rd. And it will bring the series to Victorian London in 1868. The game, of course, will be available on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So the PS3 is officially left behind, the last generation is officially being left behind by Assassin's Creed. And let's see, development on the game is being led by Ubisoft Quebec for the first time in the series' history. Montreal is usually the lead developer. They're still working on it as well with 8 other Ubisoft studios, or rather, I think it's 10 studios total working on this year's game, which I think happens actually every year because Ubisoft is a gigantic company. So it's Ubisoft Quebec, Montreal, Singapore, Annecy, Montpellier, Reflections, Sofia, Shanghai, Kiev, and Bucharest. So all those studios are working on Syndicate. Let's see, there are 2 different protagonists for this one. Jacob Fry is kind of the guy in the cover, but you could also play as his twin sister, I think, whose name escapes me at the moment. Evie, I think. And you can kind of choose between, or for many of the missions, you can kind of choose which one you want to play as. Although they'll both have separate missions as well that are kind of exclusive to each other, just to kind of, I guess, to flesh out their own particular characters or whatever. But for the most part, you'll be able to switch at your leisure who you'd like to play at, which is pretty neat, I think.
You think that this is their way of apologizing for the whole females are too hard to create game debacle?
Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to imagine that the game's been in development longer than that whole debacle has been around. So probably not a response, but to that particular kerfuffle. But it's nice to see either way. I like the whole brother sister dynamic. That's interesting, I think.
Yeah, that's different, and it's about time. I mean, I think it'll be an interesting story. Though the guy, watching him parade around town in a top hat, which was the fashion back then. It's a little weird for me. It's like, you stick out like a sore thumb, and he's like, oh, it's assassin time. Better take off the top hat and put on my hood. I mean,
go ahead.
And so it's a new studio, which means we may not see some of the Assassin's Creed traditions in there. And of course, the traditions I'm talking about are the game being extremely buggy and.
Well, like I said, it's 10 studios.
Wow, 10. But still, you said the first time ever, though, with this.
Well, the first time that someone not being Montreal, I think, taking the lead on the series.
So do you think it's going to be any better, or is it just going to be, it sucks?
I think it's not worth speculating on Assassin's Creed anymore. Because whatever you think...
it never works out for us.
Whatever you expect of it, it's always going to be the opposite. Like, I expected, Black Flag to be a waste of time, and it was definitely not. And then I expected freaking Unity to be the best thing ever, and it was not. So it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna let it ride.
So stoked for you, my God.
I saw it. They showed that game to my face, and they're like, "Look how cool this is!" And I was like, "Yeah, man."
They kept making you drink these liquid and eat these pills, and you were so excited.
I was like, "Yeah, man. See you in 4 months. It's gonna be awesome." Oh God. So I'm obviously, Assassin's Creed can be an awesome game, but I'm not going to speculate anymore. I'm just going to let it ride.
Yeah, I mean, I was huge into Assassin's Creed. 2 summers ago, I had that summer that I talked about on the show where I just played through 2, Brotherhood, and the
Revelation.
Thank you. Revelations, and in preparation for Assassin's Creed 3, boy, was that a major letdown. It's like playing all these awesome games. Oh my god, I can't wait. What the hell is this?
Although you can't ride a horse and buggy in this one. That's nice.
Yeah. And for me, like, when they got rid of Desmond, it's like, because I did like the overarching story that's uniting all these games, and now it's just like, no, you're just some random dude in history. And it doesn't help that the assassins, I don't understand their cause at all, to a point where I'm sort of siding with the Templars. Like I was really happy when Rogue came out, like, all right, finally a game where I can play the heroes. I mean, it's just a shame it's on PS3.
Yeah, that was about to say, did you ever actually play it?
No, I never did. Because I haven't turned on the PS3 in forever. Oh, God. Can we talk about the potential celebrity that's in Assassin's Creed Syndicate?
Sure. Yeah, like during the reveal of this game, they showed, there was this, the cinematic trailer or whatever that they do for every game that's like 2 minutes long, but then they also did like a gameplay walkthrough for like 30 minutes or whatever. Mm-hmm. And just in the middle of it, like 20 minutes in, it's like, oh, here's a fighting pit where people can fight for whatever reason. And then like there's this big giant man in there, and now and you see like he turns his back, and it's like, is that WWE monstrosity Brock Lesnar? Just Brock Lesnar. He's just in the game for reasons unknown to anybody.
Was he just hitting the guy with suplexes in that fighting ring?
I don't know what was going on, but it was funny.
There was a bald man on the like, suplex repeat, suplex repeat.
I mean, has anybody made any mention of has anybody clarified what was actually going on? Because
No, it's just like, hey, there's a dude. It could be just a guy with Brock Lesnar's back tattoo.
Because I've heard nothing in any official capacity from Ubisoft or Brock's camp or anything,
or the WWE for that matter. And even more interesting, the guy he's fighting has the exact. If people are barely talking about him because it's not Brock Lesnar, but the guy he is fighting in that one, if you look at his tattoos, those actually match UFC fighter Frank Mir, who is actually pretty famous for having a pretty epic feud with Brock Lesnar in the UFC.
Okay.
So it's like it was actually pretty cool. Like he was Brock's second fight in the UFC, and Brock was dominating, but then Mir got like this ankle lock of all things. Things that it was a leg lock, not like an ankle lock. That would be too good because Kurt Angle's actually in the audience for that fight. But he tapped out Brock Lesnar, and then both of them, they had this pretty epic fight. I think Brock got injured when he won the title, and Frank Mir became the interim champion. So now it was this epic fight where Frank Mir was the only one to beat Brock Lesnar so far. So they had this title for title fight, and Brock Lesnar. Oh, Joe, you need to see this fight because it was like the greatest showcase of a UFC fighter wanting revenge in the worst way possible.
Too bad MMA sucks.
Oh no, it doesn't. Like under the right conditions, it was really good because you like saw Brock Lesnar just turn this poor Frank Mir's face into hamburger in that fight. Oh gosh. If we had more time, I would just talk to you more about this fight. But it was like first round was just Brock Lesnar destroying him, and then Frank Mir, who I can only assume thinking that I survived the first round, I must be immortal, which is the only reason I could think of him trying to lunge at Brock Lesnar with a flying knee, which Brock Lesnar sidesteps and just continues to turn his face into hamburger.
As compelling as this all is, I'd really rather talk about anything than an MMA fight that happened 5 years ago.
For the title, Joe. But anyway, so it is pretty weird that nobody is saying anything because that's clearly Brock Lesnar's tattoo.
Yeah.
So you'd think that he'd at least have to say, sure, go ahead. I mean...
Well, I mean, it's not like he's got it copyrighted, I think. If anything, the tattoo artist would have copyrighted.
I don't know about that, Joe, because, that tattoo on his back is pretty much a trademark of him. Like, you got to remember, wrestlers are pretty much walking, talking products at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, unless he trademarked that particular design. Then.
Yeah, but, that's not just, it's not like they just put that tattoo on, like, some random schmo. That's, like, the same body and size of Brock Lesnar on that.
Well, sorry.
I'm just saying, if you see this guy given, what's the name of the main character?
Something or other.
Something. If he gives,
I've already forgotten.
Yeah, if he gives Ezio like the F5 at some point, I'm just saying Paul Heyman should call some lawyers. I'm just saying. If you thought Brock Lesnar was scary before, Joe, imagine him with only the eyeballs and teeth. No face. But yeah, as cool as that does sound, it still does not make me excited for Syndicate. I'm sorry, Ubisoft, but you've been hitting no hitters at this point. You've been.
I said no hitters are positive.
Yeah, exactly. You've been striking out. I should.
There you go. The other end of the note.
No hitters. It's like no hitters. That's pretty good.
Pretty good for Ubisoft.
Yeah. All right. You have anything else to say on this, Joe?
No.
All right. Continuing on.
All right. Well, we're continuing the Ubisoft news here. That's release date information for a couple of different games. Let's see. Do you want to go? All right. Let's start with the Division.
Yeah. Let's start with the depressing one first.
Which was originally slated for release sometime this year. But now that's been pushed over into 2016. The game is now slated for Q4 of 2016's financial year, which extends from January to March. So probably sometime in the spring of 2016 is when it'll be out.
Joe, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I was about to say something, but I didn't know there was more story. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let's see here. During the financial earnings call, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot said, "It is never an easy decision to move launch dates, but we are committed to make decisions that will benefit the players. As I said in my introduction, this is our most important driver as it has always benefited the company in the long run." Apparently, their financial 2016 lineup also includes, quote, another AAA title that has not yet been announced. When asked about whether or not the game was a new IP, Guillemot declined to comment. Interestingly, though, is that they also announced, Ubisoft also announced that they're bringing on an additional developer to help the game, or to help the game come along. Like it's currently being developed by Massive Games or something. I forget what the actual developer is, or the main developer is. I forget what it's called. I think it's just Massive. Yeah, it's literally just Massive Entertainment. Yeah, in Sweden, Red Storm in the U.S. and Ubisoft Reflections were all already working on the game. And Ubisoft brought in Ubisoft NNC, which is a French studio that's also working on Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So it's kind of weird. I wonder what's going on. Like delays are normal, but when they decide to also bring in another studio to help out, that's usually not a good sign.
Now, two thoughts came to my mind because from what reports I've been reading, this is actually the second delay that they've done in the game. Now, the first major thought is, are they doing a Watch Dogs?
What do you mean?
Well, remember the first time we saw this, saw the footage, and we're like, oh, holy shit, which was me when I first saw The Division, because The Division, the game and the concept looked great. Like, I was like, oh, wow, this could be like a really, really fun multiplayer game. And then it got delayed. And then, I feel like I've been seeing a lot of Division footage at all these major conferences, but still, we're like, it's a year out now? I mean, we're going to keep getting Division stuff to the point where, like, okay, you had me at hello, let's just hurry it up. And it's like, because, that's sort of what happened with Watch Dogs. They fed us too early. Like, I would have held off on that trailer until they knew for sure they had an idea of what was going on or when it was coming out. And then fed us. But they fed us way too early, and we got stuffed. And some of us started to regurgitate a little on the thought of Watch Dogs. Or even worse, some of us had like these absurdly high expectations for the game, and then the game came out, and it's like, oh, it's just Grand Theft Auto 5 with a cell phone. Okay. And, that sort of killed that. I mean, but do you think they're doing anything like that with the Division here?
I hope not, because that was super disappointing.
It was, wasn't it? It was like doing our Game of the Year episode, and it was like, yeah, Watch Dogs ain't here. We so thought it would be at the beginning of the year, but nope.
Yeah, man.
It's like, and I feel the same way with the Division. I was super, super excited for it, and to an extent I still am. But man, that's a big delay. That's like what, 8 months or so?
A long time.
Yeah, and plus what you were saying, they had to bring another studio. Jeez.
Yeah.
And here's the big question, Joe, because you are the professor in this subject, so I am very curious for your opinion here. Do you think the Division has a chance to become vaporware?
I don't think it'll be that bad.
Okay.
The game will definitely come out at that point. It's just worrying if it'll live up to the hype so far.
It's a lot of hype. It's getting up there, Joe. All right, so I'm very, very concerned, but hopefully not. What's the next story, Joe?
Let's see. In other Tom Clancy release date news, Rainbow Six Siege is going to be released on October 13th in North America and Europe. It's coming to PS4 and Xbox One and PC. So basically just the high-tech stuff is going to be able to play it. Yeah, there you go. That's pretty much that's pretty much all there's to that story.
All right on. Moving on.
All right, so moving on from the Ubisoft stuff. Let's see. This seems like something that you're super excited about because it was the first thing you brought up when I asked if there was anything that I might have missed in the news, and that is Mr. Koji Igarashi.
Yeah.
Doing a Kickstarter thing like so many others to fund a game called Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. And within a day, he was able to get the easy $500,000. And within 24 hours, the game had gone up to well over $2 million. Or not 24 hours, but it's already cleared well over $2 million. Instead of just under $2.5 million. The interesting thing is that the game, like most of the funding was already there. Like he'd already had like investors ready to go, but all they required of him was to prove that there was actual demand for games such as this. So he went to Kickstarter and said, like, all right, it's like I've got most of the money locked down, I think, but if you guys can raise this much money, then the game will happen for sure. That's what happened. And yeah, it is basically Symphony of the Night. With
more or less. It's
with polished up graphics. Yeah, he's describing it as an Igavania, which is
he really
kind of
wants
cute.
That phrase to go over the Igavania.
Yeah, it's a little disingenuous though, because it's like he definitely helped lock down that genre with Symphony of the Night. But the Metroid part of the Metroidvania phrase is very important because Metroid was the first to do it. So maybe don't do that. Maybe you don't use Igavania. That sucks.
Yeah, Metroidvania is fine. You just
Metroidvania actually, the term kind of sucks, but it's important to note that those two games are equally important.
Yeah.
So cutting out Metroid to put your own name in there to kind of claim sole ownership of the genre. Don't do that because we know that it's not.
By the way, also goes to show you once again. We've been talking about. It feels like for the past 2 weeks we've been talking about how dumb Konami is. Only Konami could get something like this. They could get Symphony of the Night heralded as one of the greatest games of our time. Everyone who plays it has nothing but amazing things to say about it. It reviewed fantastically. Did it sell well, Joe?
I would assume it did. Yeah.
Sold well. What's Konami's response to it? It's like, we're going to go in a different direction. Like, we never saw Symphony of the Night 2. We never saw anything else.
We did. We saw like a million side-scrolling. Like, they tried to recreate that game a million different times, and they were all fine games. They were just like, there was no, like, they never called it like Symphony of the Night 2, but I mean, they never really had to. Like,
it was missing something. Like, was Iggy involved in all those, or
he was involved in a lot of them?
So what changed?
I don't know. Sometimes you can't. Like, sometimes it like when you lead off with that. Well, I mean, it's not good. Like, obviously, it wasn't the first Castlevania game. It was the first Castlevania. It wasn't even really the first Castlevania of that type, because I think Castlevania 2 was kind of like.
Kind of, yeah. It wasn't that well put together.
But it was definitely the most refined and probably the best version of that formula.
So what other Castlevanias were like Symphony of the Night after Symphony of the Night? Like, I'm not talking about side-scrolling, just in like how it was made and how it was done.
Well, I mean, mostly the portable ones like that showed up on GBA and DS were pretty similar in terms of their gameplay. Like, I remember Circle of the Moon was a GBA launch game that I enjoyed.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I think you're talking about like those weird ones that.
What's weird about it?
Because it was in present day for one thing, technically. Like and two, I'm surprised. I guess I'm just surprised they never thought, a console one isn't going to sell. By the way, did you see Iggy's pitch video for this Kickstarter?
I did not watch the pitch video.
Oh, it is so full of ego. It's so great.
That's what I'm saying. It's weird that he's trying to put over this whole Igavania thing when
he is trying to make himself into a rock star, and you know what? He's succeeding.
Like, the dude totally has earned, the rock star, moniker, but like, it's like, you're not the sole creator of this genre. Like Metroid is the leading part of the genre for a reason. It's because it was first. So stop pretending that, you were the sole creator of this genre.
Well, I will say, I don't think he's trying to say that he's the sole creator. He's the creator of...
He took out the word Metroid and put in his own name.
Well, I think it's just to say he's the inventor of this style of Castlevania game. Which, once again, if you're looking at the concept art, it's like Konami almost should sue. Because it's so Castlevania or Symphony of the Night. But it looks so good. Now, just to go over the stretch goals, as of right now, they are at 2.4 million. Mm-hmm. And they've succeeded in the following stretch goals here. Which, number one, they are funded. Their goal was only 500,000, and they've reached that in spades. They've also, let's see, there's going to be an art book, which is now going to be hardcover. Yay. There's going to be a second playable character for the game, so you can do co-op. There's a nightmare difficulty.
Is it co-op, or is it just a different character for one player to use?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Second playable character, so I guess a male and female. There's going to be a nightmare difficulty. They have enough money to pay David Hayter to come on to the game. That's great.
Which is weird, because it's only a $50,000 jump between nightmare difficulty and David Hayter. So David Hayter apparently comes pretty cheap.
Well, 50 years, that's like almost a year of working at AT&T. So it's $1 million. They got cheat codes for the game. Yay.
Those used to be just in video games before they decided to become microtransactions.
Oh, here we go, Joe. Since they made it to 1.225 million, now there is local co-op. So yes, that second playable character can play at the same time as you. 1.5, they got a new boss. There's a speed run mode. There's a boss rush mode. Something called a retro game level. And there's only one stretch goal left at 2.5 million, which I think they'll easily make with 23 days to go. And that's a classic mode, whatever that means. So they're probably going to have to make more stretch goals in like a few days.
Weirdly, they have other different stretch ways to like they've got these weird little fucking challenges or whatever for the community to be involved in. Like if it gets in a certain number of backers, they'll unlock something. If they get a certain number of followers, they'll unlock something. If they get a certain number of fan art, which is very strange to me, that the game that barely has concept art would have fan art. It's like, but whatever. Like you can unlock different things by interacting with the game. But
I do want to say once again, going back to that pitch video, it's so good. There's like this one scene where, well, first of all, I guess he's supposed to be dressed as Dracula from the first game. Like he's not even hiding that he was the guy behind Symphony of the Night. And he was like, publishers told me that no one would want this game. I know they are wrong. And he throws like this glass of wine against the wall, just like Dracula. So yeah, as you were saying, I guess this gives you an idea how much a game costs, because he says he was able to fund 90% of it, and he just needs the last 10%, and that was $500,000. So if we times that by 9, I guess a game takes about $4.5 million, which is crazy.
I think he's already had a couple million already in the bank, or not in the bank, but kind of locked down. I don't know. Like I don't think it'd be. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, they've got that much money now, so maybe I don't know. I don't know what I'm prime for. But anyway, you wanted to hear about all the other Castlevanias he was involved in.
Okay. You found it. All right.
Well, I mean, I've had the Wikipedia page open for a while. It's not that hard. But let's see. Like on the Game Boy Advance, he did Harmony of Dissonance as a producer. He was a producer on Aria of Sorrow. Okay. Also on the GBA. On the DS, he was producer and writer on Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin. Let's see. Order of Ecclesia. He was a producer on that. So we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5. I guess he didn't do Circle of the Moon. But out of all the 2D, exploration platformers, he's done a number of them.
He's done a number of them, and this is my final defense on this. How well did Konami advertise any of those?
Malcolm, there's 6 of them. They all did well. They all did well enough for the other ones to exist after.
Look, I've never seen one commercial for Aria of Sorrow. I'm just saying.
How many commercials did you see for Symphony of the Night?
I saw quite a few.
Well, you're a liar. You're a liar. You've never seen.
I've seen. All right.
The point is, he's also done less successful games, such as remember Castlevania Judgment on the Wii? Remember that terrible fighting game?
Castlevania. You did that?
He was a producer on it.
Okay, what do producers do?
They produce, Malcolm.
Okay, great. Clear. Technically, okay, this is wrestling, but continue.
Let's see here. He did a WiiWare Castlevania game called The Adventure Rebirth. Not sure what that actually is. Let's see, side-scrolling action game developed by it is current. No, I don't know what that is. But yeah, he's done a number of Castlevania. The only thing, the weird thing is that obviously, this is a type of game that people enjoy playing and buying. But while he's one of the godfathers of the genre, there are so many Castlevania or Metroidvania type games coming out at a pretty steady clip. So I'm wondering how it'll do outside of these backers that have already backed the game.
Yeah, because they actually have stuff beyond stretch goals. Like I'm looking at this page here, they got stretch goals for a certain amount of Twitter followers coming on, retweets, Facebook likes, and it'll unlock more campaign and whatever rewards. There's even ones for like fan art and photography. So there's like he's planned this out pretty well, I gotta say.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's got a team helping him. I doubt he did it. He planned this whole thing by himself.
No, you didn't watch the video, Joe. It's all him. He comes into a computer room and waves a magic wand, and then out pops out a video game. It happens just like. Oh man! Oh, here we go. This shows him, and once again, he's drawn as Dracula, and he's got like all these people, and which he does mention in the video. I've been saying that he's been a rock star, but he just says in the video that he gathered his closest team and his favorite people. I really hope the music's going to be really good.
I'm sure. Well, I forget who he's got on music. It's Michiru Yamane, the principal composer for a huge number of Castlevania titles for more than a decade, according to the Kickstarter page. She has achieved legendary status amongst he keeps calling them Igavanias. Since going indie in 2008, she scored the soundtrack for Skullgirls and arranged several tracks for Super Smash Bros. She's excited to hear the fans' covers, remixes, and the rearrangements for the first song she's written, which is a theme of Bloodstained.
It looks like the lead protagonist character named Miriam is actually a female. So there you go, folks. Another female lead character. That looks actually pretty badass. And for those of you wondering what David Hayter's doing, they already announced he's going to be voice acting the lead bad guy, Jeeble, who is the Dracula. Basically, looks like a young Dracula with a mask on. So I'm excited by that. David Hayter really kicks ass. So he can't be Snake anymore. He could be Jeeble in this one.
I like how they have the phonetic pronunciation here. They phonetically spell it out here. Jeeble.
Well, it's kind of necessary in the States here, buddy.
Gabel. Gabel. Yeah, like I said, though, like there's so many Metroidvanias floating around now. It'd be weird to see how the Godfather, I guess, one of the Godfathers kind of competes with all of them. Like, what's it called? Why am I forgetting its name all of a sudden? Action Verge. I think that was the best one to come around in a long time. And that's even after loving games like, Shadow Complex or Rock Melee. So there's lots to compete with now that he did not have to compete with before when he was putting these games out originally.
Oh, are you excited for this game, Joe?
Yeah, of course.
Didn't know because you're like, fuck this guy. Fucking rock star. It is a great video because he's just like walking around Castlevania. He'll like torture people. He prays at this altar. And,
Now the game's not scheduled for release until 2017.
Yeah, which sounds about right. Oh man, I'm sure they had because I remember when this was first announced because I found it while I was at work, and at the time they'd only had like $100,000. Like little did I know they'd only been out for the first hour, but I was a little worried because the game looked great, and I was like, oh, they've been out for this long, and because you can tell if a video game's going to make it because they'll usually reach their goal within the first hour or so. So I actually posted it on Facebook, hoping people would respond to it. Then a few hours later, it made the goal. So hey, Koji, you're welcome. And hey, when the game comes out, maybe you can give 2 copies of the game firmware update here. So do you think this is going to be like a full-on game, or is this going to be a PSN download length game?
I don't know, because one of the backer rewards, if you give it $60, they'll give you a physical copy of the game. So I don't know if that means that the game will be I don't know, because there's quite a leap in terms of the the backer rewards. Like for $5 you get Koji's things, which is I guess nice.
Sends you an awkward picture that says you have my thanks.
Let's see, and then the rewards, right? The rewards pledge $5 or more, you get Iga's Immortal Gratitude and then the next reward is a big leap, I think, to $28 or more. That gets you a digital copy of the game for Xbox One, PS4, or Steam.
You get a lot more thanks though, Joe.
Then it's another big leap to $60,
which is about the cost of an actual physical game,
right? And that is the physical copy of the game. So I don't know if they're gonna do like a weird, like for like kind of like what they did with like what Capcom did with like Resident Evil Revelations 2, where it's like, you can get the physical season for $25 or whatever, but if you want the physical edition at 40, like I don't know if that's what he's kind of going for here, where for like $30 you could get the game digitally, or for $60 you can get it for like physical copy or whatever. Very weird.
Are you gonna back this project, Joe?
Nah. he's got it covered. He doesn't need money anymore.
He doesn't. But Joe, we need that classic mode, Joe. Come on.
It'll be fine.
I'll say I'm considering doing either the special backer edition copy, which gets you the physical game, and the now hardcover art book, which I'm always a fan of. By the way,
$100 tier.
What's that?
Is that the $100 tier?
60.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think that's true. I'm looking at it here. $60 gets you a physical copy of the game, includes exclusive backer-only content, and a special Kickstarter exclusive slipcase.
All right. Are you looking at the pictures at the bottom?
I'm looking at the rewards on the right-hand side, the ones that you actually have to click.
Okay, scroll down. It shows you like the picture of it, because for $60, there's a special backer edition physical copy. Long name. And that you get a physical copy of the game for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, or Steam, and includes an exclusive backer-only content, the mighty sword whip, and the super powerful hidden boss, and a special backer edition slipcase. Okay, so that's
yeah. So you're gonna have to step it up, buddy, to I think $100. No, not even. Because for $100 you get all that plus a keychain, lapel pin, soundtrack CD, retro strategy booklet, and your name in the credits. You'd have to go up to $150 to get a art book.
Well, that's way too much. So,
but that includes all of the above now.
Indeed. Let's see. There's also this special backer edition digital copy version, which not only gets you the sword whip and a super powerful hit boss, but a download of the soundtrack, and which actually the soundtrack that could be really good, and a retro strategy booklet. So yeah, there's some cool stuff here. I mean, worst case, $28 gets you the digital copy, which I imagine is a discount if this is going to be like a full-on game.
That's probably like $30.
You save $2.
Well, I mean, that's how Kickstarter usually work. Like, or it's like, early bird special. They usually have like a certain allotment. Like the first 500 people to get in on this level will save like $5.
And the response on my end has also been pretty good. Like I've had people on Facebook thank me for pointing this out to them because they're really excited for this game now. Because Symphony of the Night, it was a big game, Joe.
A good game.
It's a very good game, man. Played it on my Vita. It is such a good game. I should do like how you do once a year you play through Super Mario World.
Yeah.
I should probably do that with Symphony. Man, but yeah, this like brought a smile to my face, Joe. So I was really happy for it. Iggy, all ego aside, that was a fun pitch video. I mean, you got to do that if you want 500,000, or in this case, $2.4 million, Joe. So good on him. He did it, Joe. He did it. And it's good to have some actual good news with Kickstarter. I don't know if you heard. I unfortunately can't remember it, but there was a video game that went on Kickstarter that was like $7,000 away, and some troll said, "Oh, here's the $7,000," and the studio was so happy they thanked him up and down on Twitter. They started celebrating, and then the guy said, "No, I'm not actually doing it." So I felt bad for that stuff. But Bloodstained is coming, so this is bringing. I'm curious, Joe. Do you think this is bringing on a new renaissance of Kickstarter games? Because we had Ukulele announced last week, or excuse me, the previous week, and I think it's proving that you don't necessarily need Konami or any other studio out there in order to succeed. Like there was a story that unfortunately I couldn't find where Sega was going on being disappointed with the weak sales of Alien Isolation, which had just broken the $2 million point, or the $2 million sold point, and which sort of reminded me of Tomb Raider, that failure,
that terrible sad sack of a game.
Indeed, that Square Enix was like saying it was. So it's like I think it's like at a point where studios like that, if it's not like the new Call of Duty, it doesn't live up to expectations for them. So this way, you know what? what, we will do it, and it'll be a great game for it. So I'm excited for Bloodstained Ritual.
I mean, I don't know though. I think it speaks more to people's nostalgia than anything else. Because I mean, the two games that we're talking about here are basically callbacks to games that the creators made 15 or 20 years ago. Now that you think about it, like you got Koji with Bloodstained, kind of harkening back to Symphony of the Night, and then you've got Ukulele, which is pretty much essentially exactly freaking Banjo-Kazooie, up down to the two-part name for the two characters, one of which rides the back of the larger character. So I mean, I don't think we'll see Kickstarter replacing the traditional publisher model anytime soon, because even as successful as this project is, the $2.5 million, it is still only 31,000 people who contributed that. So like normally a publisher would not be excited about 31,000 people saying they want to buy a video game that costs millions of dollars to make. You know what I mean?
We'll see. Like the more I read about this game, the more excited I get. Like there's crafting, like you can create stuff. Like that's okay. Time wasters are the easiest way to get me excited. Like on this picture here, you get sulfur, a flaming eyeball, and a turtle shell, and it makes a sword. That's amazing me. So this nice flaming sword. So get that monster hunter element in there. I mean, it just looks like there's so much to do in this game, and depending on how big the castle is, it could be really, really cool too. So I'm excited. So 2017 can't come to quick enough. All right. So Joe, what else happened this week? Or yeah, we're on this. Go ahead.
Let's see. Speaking about, I guess, missed opportunities for Konami. Let's see. Let's see. Which one should I do first? Let's start with Guillermo Del Toro, director of many films that people like, and also one of the people that was helping make Silent Hills a reality, along with Kojima and Norman Reedus. He had some words to say to IGN about the whole demise of that thing, and yeah, it doesn't sound like. Sounds like he had the rug pulled from under him, because according to him, let's see. Quote. Let's see. There's a quote here. See it. Where was the quote? There's a good quote in here. Well, apparently he was having a lot of fun with Kojima and Reedus on the project. He said Norman Reedus, who was super happy, Hideo was super happy, and so was I. He said, I know there's a petition going on the internet and it's gathering signatures. I would add my signature to it and hope that someone pays attention. And yeah, he basically said that the whole thing with the way they've handled Silent Hills and PT is kind of like a whole scorched earth thing, where it's like the whole, because it is pretty scorched earth, where they're like, all right, this game is canceled, and the demo's gone, and not only is the demo gone, but you'll never be able to re-download it if you delete it. It's like, whoa, okay. Yeah, that's. I mean, he also said that he's probably never going to do another video game, because why would he? After Insane, that was supposed to come out, like I think that was announced like in 2010.
Yeah, with THQ.
It was supposed to release in 2013. Like that was the first red flag, is that they announced it like 2.5 or 3 years beforehand. It's like, is that really going to come out? And the answer is no. And then this, where there was, which he'd actually done much more work on, I think, or at least it seems like. They had celebrity talent on board to be part of the game, and PT, I'm sure, was not cheap to produce. All these things that were in favor of a game that was actually going to be released, and then all of a sudden it's not, because Hideo Kojima's and Konami are suddenly divorced.
Mm-hmm. So a few things to say on this. Number one, fuck Konami. Secondly, there was another line in there. I forget what it was. I would bring it up, but whenever I go on the web while we're doing the show, my computer starts to make you go staticky. But there's one line in there where he says that essentially, like, Hideo has my number, or Hideo knows if Hideo will get together with me, I'll do it with him because I like him. Right. So granted, I think he's done working with like major companies, because one folded on him and one was scorched. So I still think there's somewhat hope. I don't know what the specifics are of the deal, because maybe Hideo can't make a game for a year, or maybe like sort of like how WWE has a no compete clause. Maybe video game producers have
that major talent has successfully sued against. It's like, no, I can wrestle because I need to.
Okay, well, that's
so this
you can't feed your family for 3 months.
Like, I'm just gonna go ahead and ignore this part of the contract because it's done.
I think that's what Del Rio did. But anyway.
Yeah.
So God bless Del Rio. But anyway, so I still say, and you know what, I'll even tweet this out at both of them, like maybe on the off chance one of them reads it, but
your tweet will be the tipping point.
Maybe it will be, Joe.
I'm sure it will.
It could be the straw that repairs the camel's back. Is that famous.
That's not what straws do, Malcolm.
If you know how to use them, Joe, yes, they can. But anyway, it's like you don't think that if Del Toro and Kojima went on Kickstarter and say, hey, you know what we were trying to do before? Well, it's called Spooky Ghosts now. Would you like to support it? That they wouldn't like... Or I'm sure they could come up with something better. Call it, Bloodstained, Ghost Ritual or whatever.
Yeah, you got to put blood in the title. Huh?
So they said they're doing Konami, fuck Konami, and the whole pitch video could just be fuck Konami and get $12 million. But yeah, like if they announced it and said, "Hey, do you want to support us?" You don't think everyone would be on board? I mean, hell, I think they could even take this to like Sony or Microsoft or whatever, and they're like, and it'll be an exclusive to us. Here you go, take all of the money, all of it. Enough people still want it, and to a point where, I don't understand. Once again, we've said this before, I don't understand Konami's thinking on this, especially when we get to the next Konami story. I don't know what they're thinking in this. Like, it was literally a game that everyone wanted, with the exception of you, who didn't play the demo at all yet. But there it is. Someday, maybe. But it was a demo that made everyone want it. And they're like, nah, that's okay. We're going to focus on this now. God. But I still say that, if those two really, really want to work together, there's absolutely still a way. I mean, I'm begging them, please don't let the memory of Konami being complete moronic assholes ruin what could be a great union in video games here. But yeah, and I don't blame Del Toro at all. I mean, he's had a pretty rough ride. I mean, if I was him, where, having the knowledge he must have, the limited knowledge he must have with video games, I imagine it. He thought like both times seemed like safe bets. THQ was doing like a few sports games and had like some notable titles under its belt. So of course he'd think it was going to work out. And then after that, all right, well that didn't work, but Konami, come on. Konami, people know who Konami is. That's going to work out. No. You have anything else to say before I just make this all a Malcolm rant here?
I think, let's see, if I were to add something, I think that he should have gotten into the mobile game business like Konami is.
Transitioning away.
Apparently, according a key executive of Konami has said that the company will, quote, pursue mobile games aggressively going forward, and that smartphones will be considered, quote, its main platform. Let's see. Speaking to Nikkei and translated by user on NeoGAF, Konami company president Hideki Hayakawa said that the future of gaming is in mobile. He said, quote, our main platforms will be mobile. Gaming has spread to a number of platforms, but at the end of the day, the platform that is always closest to us is mobile. Mobile is where the future of gaming lies. With multi-platform games, there's really no point in dividing the market into categories anymore. Mobiles will take on the new role of linking the general public to the gaming world. In recent financial reports, Konami highlighted free-to-play design-driven games as key areas of success for the company. Hayakawa said this strategy would be a key focus going forward, quote, following the pay-as-you-play model of games like Power Pro and Winning 11 with additional content, our games must move from selling things like items to selling things like features, he said. We saw with these games that even people who buy physical games are motivated to buy extra content. The success of Power Pro especially has motivated us to actively push more of our popular series onto mobile than ever before. Yeah, there you go.
So, few things. Number one, Joe, just to get you in the conversation here. How many years late to the party is Konami on this one?
Well, I mean, 0, because they've been doing mobile games for a while.
What games have they been doing?
Well, the games that he literally just mentioned, Power Pro and Winning 11.
But it seems like they're putting all their eggs in one basket with this one.
Well, I mean, Konami wasn't taking, consoles seriously. But aside from Metal Gear, I don't think they've been taking console games seriously for a long time.
Excuse me, Zone of Vendors.
What year was that?
I think it was 2011. No, it was...
Oh, the HD collection, you mean, where they just packaged 2 old games from 15 years ago.
Was it you or Tyler who got that game for free?
It must have been Tyler. I've never gotten the HD collection.
Check your shelf, maybe.
I'm pretty sure I don't.
You probably forgot it was there. All right, fine. But still... Like, if, speaking in all due seriousness, if they do one game, they own Yu-Gi-Oh! Essentially, or at least the distribution rights of it. Mm-hmm. Make a mobile game for that where you can create a deck.
It probably already is.
Trust me, it is. I've been looking around for it. Unless it's only on iOS, which is fucking stupid. And then make it so, like, if you bump into somebody in the street and they have the same game, you guys can play each other on your phones. Like, so do, like, local as well as online co-op. There you go. But...
Let's see. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Dual Generation.
Is that
Yu-Gi-Oh! Bam Pocket. There are 2 of these on here.
okay? I've played Bam. That is not the game. Secondly, Bam is just like a Facebook game, like a dumb Facebook game, a version of Yu-Gi-Oh! So trust me, it's
Dual Generation. Description: the world's best-selling trading card game, now on iPad. There you go.
on iPad. There you go.
Well, that's the only one that mattered, really.
Dual Generation. I'll look into that and see if those are actual games. Because a lot of, if you type in Yu-Gi-Oh, you'll get stuff, but usually they're like life counters or price guides or stuff that, or even better, it just doesn't work and you delete it off your phone. So
And just as Konami has described, it is a free-to-play game that I'm sure is rife with microtransactions.
So you think this is a good move then?
I mean, for Konami's business, as a business, I guess it's fine. They'll do fine for the sake of getting new Castlevania or Metal Gear games. And that's not good for us.
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, it's good for Konami. It's not good for Metal Gear or Castlevania or Silent Hill fans.
like they're probably going to try and release Castlevania or Silent Hill on your phone, and when that doesn't sell, they'll, if we're lucky, maybe they'll sell off the properties to other people. Because if they're not going to do anything with it, then why just let it collect dust?
Man. I mean, hey, remember Metal Gear Mobile or whatever? That Metal Gear Mobile game on iOS?
Oh god, the one that was just like a touch and shoot.
Yeah, I think it was called Metal Gear Touch. I forget what it was called exactly.
Yeah. Oh god, that was stupid. That must have been a freaking Konami decision. Like, make this into a mobile game. It's not going to work with the vision. You're like, make it a mobile game. Okay. Poor Kojima. Oh, man. But, yeah, I'm not a fan. I have yet to have a single Konami anything on my phone. And, just the thought they have, once again, sitting on all these epic licenses that they just don't want to do anything with. I do not understand Konami at all.
Konami does not give a shit what you think, is the moral of this story.
Oh, so it's exactly like wrestling.
They do not give a shit what you think about anything they do.
All right. Is there any happier news left, Joe? It's like, I think we've done, this is the 3rd week where Konami has just pissed me off in a row. It's like, I'm trying to think of what else they could do aside from, if they like launched a nuclear warhead at Naughty Dog Studios or something. I can't think of anything else. All right. Moving on, Joe.
Let's see here. We've got Grand Theft Auto 5 has shipped to retailers. Important to note that distinction, but still a lot. They've shipped nearly 52 million units of Grand Theft Auto 5 across all platforms. That being PS3, PS4, 360, Xbox One, and PC. That's a lot of fucking GTA.
That's a lot. Weren't they at $1 billion, or was that only the PS? But 52 million. That's still pretty good.
I'm sorry, $1 billion?
Yeah, I thought that some game broke $1 billion. I thought
$1 billion what?
Sold or okay. Well, anyway.
What video game could possibly sell $1 billion copies?
Grand Theft Auto or like.
Dude, there aren't that many freaking systems.
Maybe Call of Duty. I don't know. But anyway, 52 million. Christ, like we were just talking about, Alien Isolation being happy to sell 2 million. Well, okay. Once again, this is shipped, not sold. We still don't know that number, but still 52. That's quite a bit.
I mean, I can verify that the shipped number at least is very accurate because we go through a ton of those over at the Best Buy I work at. Like just yesterday, I had to fulfill an order for 5 copies of GTA on PS3, and like our media warehouse where we keep all the games and movies and stuff is still overflowing with copies of GTA 5, and we have to constantly replenish the shelves with it.
Yeah, I mean that's the game like people just love. One of those games that people just love playing. I mean, I know people that's their game. Like they don't really go out and buy other games, like except maybe a sports game here and there. But most of the time, it's just dicking around in Grand Theft Auto because it could be so many things. It's a great story game. It can be a great relaxer because who doesn't love like creating a tank and just destroying shit for no reason in that game. On top of that, now with this one, it could be your sports game too because the tennis games, the golf games are actually fully functional sports games.
I'll go ahead and say that those games are lacking where other dedicated sports games are better.
Yeah, Joe, I'm telling you, there's Hot Shots Golf and then there's Grand Theft Auto. It's like the same thing. And okay, does tennis have like a game, like a series of any kind?
Oh man, not in a while. They used to be Top Spin and Virtua Tennis for the top game.
Well, it has a new game, Joe, and it's called Grand Theft Auto 5. But yeah, I mean, you can do so much stuff, and they just come up with new things to do all the time. So yeah, Grand Theft Auto, people can just get lost in that game.
Get lost.
And it's even still better than freaking Watch Dogs. I digress. So yeah, not a tremendous shock. Congratulations on Rockstar.
Yeah.
All right, what else happened this week?
We've got some Ratchet and Clank news.
Really?
Weirdly enough.
I totally missed this one. Wow.
Let's see. I don't know if you remember, there were a couple of different things announced a while ago. There was I guess a reimagining of the original game on PS4, where they would kind of sort of remake it and sort of reimagine different parts of it. And then there's also the movie that was coming out. And we have release dates for both of those things, or at least a release date and a release window. The release date belongs to the movie, which will release on April 29th, 2016. And there was some casting news apparently for that as well. You'll be able to hear Paul Giamatti as Chairman Drek. You'll be able to hear John Goodman as Grimross. You'll be able to hear Bella Thorne as Galactic Ranger Cora. You'll get to hear Rosario Dawson as Galactic Ranger support team member Alaris.
Hey.
And you'll be able to, and of course, the most fitting of all is Sylvester Stallone as Victor Von Ion. Oh, there you go. That's some of the voice cast.
That's quite the voice cast for this movie. Where the hell's their budget from?
I don't know.
I was about to say Rosario Dawson. All right, or like Sylvester Stallone.
I feel like they kind of buried the lead there on this checklist here of voice talent. But as far as the game is concerned, I think that was originally going to come out sometime this year, but they pushed that into spring 2016. So I'm guessing they're just going to go ahead and hold on to it for the movie release, which makes sense. But yeah, there you go. It's apparently the game retells the origin story that ties in closely and expands upon the movie's narrative. It also features several new levels along with reimagined classic locales like Metropolis, brand new weapons, and completely redone visuals made possible only by the power of the PlayStation 4. So there you go.
And when's the game coming out?
Spring 2016.
Wow. Okay. I can't believe I completely missed the story. Well, all right. So that's cool. Do you think this might bring a resurgence in Ratchet and Clank?
No. I really do.
Are you still kind of surprised that of all the franchises, they decided to go with Ratchet and Clank for both the movie and a remaster? Not so much, but a movie, really?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. I like Ratchet and Clank. Fine. They're probably the best games out of all the mascot games that Sony made on PS2. Between that, Jack and Daxter, and what was the other one? Sly Cooper.
Yeah.
Probably the most popular of the three. So not surprised to see them go that direction.
I still laugh when people say they want another Jack and Daxter.
Yeah, it's like your nostalgia aside, people. I think at this point that is way beneath what Naughty Dog is capable of now.
Oh man, but I'm hopeful. I did like the first game.
Yeah.
And so I'll be looking forward to this one and seeing what they do with it, because it sounds like it's not going to just be a remastered anymore. They're actually adding shit in. So
yeah.
Granted, it's to tie into the movie, but what do you? All right. So what's the next story?
Let's see. Overkill, the developer of Overkill's The Walking Dead, or rather Starbreeze, the publisher of Overkill's The Walking Dead, have announced that Overkill's The Walking Dead will be present at E3 2015 in some capacity alongside Payday 2, or I would imagine Payday 2's remastered version coming out on PS4. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to that, but that's exciting, I guess.
Awesome. Do you have anything to say on this one, buddy?
Not really, because I still don't know exactly what kind of game that is. That's going to be it feels like that might be closer to Left 4 Dead than anything else. But we'll have to wait and see, I guess, for E3.
Be excited. All right, what's coming up?
Let's see. This is the last story that I have, and that is that WWE 2K16 is launching on October 27th. This time simultaneously on PS3 and PS4.
Sounds about right now.
Yeah. Strangely, they didn't have a release. Like, this came out of an investor thing from Take-Two, and interestingly, they did not have a date for NBA 2K16.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like that should have a more firm date than the WWE game. So
I'm gonna guess it's gonna probably be the first Tuesday in October. That's usually when it comes out.
Yeah, like the week before the NBA season kicks off. But it's weird that they didn't just go ahead and announce that. That's it.
Did they announce who's gonna be on the cover?
No, just that the game.
Okay, because like the artwork, it made it look like Cena and Orton were going to be on the cover, which is like pretty boring choices. Really.
Yeah, I would hope not. I would hope not. Get Seth Rollins on.
Yeah. I think one of the Shield on there. I think think it's either going to be Seth or Roman. Poor Dean.
Man.
And hey, quick tie-in from our episode of Slime University. He didn't get pinned.
He did not.
Excellent.
And also, I know your heart skipped a couple beats when they triple bar bombed Randy Orton.
Oh, that was the moment of the
you thought for a second that I was going to be right, didn't you? For a second, you're like, holy shit, Joe's right. Joe's right. It's happening. It's happening right now.
Then what would happen if they're like, they do rock, paper, scissors to who get pinned? It's like, oh, Dean, it's you.
No, it would stay on Seth because he's young.
It's like, that would have been terrible because it all built up to a triple power bomb on Randy Orton.
Oh man,
it's like we hated the guy that much. That's why we needed to do this. Wouldn't it have just made more sense to just jump Randy Orton and put him through a table? It's like, clearly you don't know how the architect works, Sarah Cole. Okay. No, it's like they got together and it made sense. It's a triple threat. Fatal 4-way, and boom went Orton, and the scene where Seth was like, yeah.
Seth had the same idea. He's like, yeah, we're back, and they're like, no. I like the way he looked back and forth. That was fun.
All three of them are so great. But yeah, in a perfect world, just put the shield on the front because that's where your money is. But honestly, I think it's either going to be Rollins or it's going to be Roman Reigns, and if it's not one of them, I could see it being Brock Lesnar.
Nah, he's too part-time for that.
Yeah, but he's also the biggest face in the company.
That is still John Cena, like that or not.
No, I don't know about that. Did you hear that reaction for him after Mania?
He's got that reaction every time.
Yeah, that's exactly my point.
I thought you were talking about Cena.
No, Brock Lesnar. But trust me, when he comes back for SummerSlam, because trust me, him versus Rollins is the match. You'll see what I'm talking about. But are you excited at all for WWE 2K?
Not till we hear about who's actually developing the game, because I think it's time to move away from Ukes finally. Like it's time to go. Ukes.
Yep. Because not mistaken, were they bought out by somebody else, or is it still Ukes?
I don't know what the situation is with Ukes. I don't know if they're an independent company or not, because I mean, all I know for sure is that obviously 2K bought the license for WWE, and that they kind of just carried on with Ukes mostly out of convenience than anything else, just because the games were kind of already in development. But after this, no, I don't know.
Yeah, because when it was first announced, Ukes had already been working on the previous entry, which is like, well, we can't really.
Yeah, which was just months away from release. So.
Yeah, so you could either decide to skip a year, and WWE's not going to do that. So it's like, all right, here's this shit. Have fun, because that's what the last game was. Like, especially after the previous year where it had Macho Man and Hogan and all these legendary characters in it, and they're like, you know what? Let's just cut the roster in half. Fuck it. Oh god, that game's so different. Well, let's take out modes where it makes no sense that we're taking them out too. So, let's just infuriate the fans.
Interestingly, Ukes owned 54% of New Japan Pro Wrestling from 2005 to 2012.
What?
I don't know. I'm reading this on their Wikipedia page.
This is literally the most conversation Ukes has ever gotten or deserved. I would love it if 2K just said, all right, the same detail and whatever we give to like NBA 2K, we're going to give it to, if you're going to be on the 2K wagon, we need you to be up to that standard. And then all of a sudden we have wrestlers whose hairs doesn't look like Play-Doh. It'll be great. Oh man. But sadly, we're probably not. It's probably going to take another year or so before we see the increase in standard, but we'll see. All right, so I guess if that's your last story, it's time for the drop.
Yeah, and I'm only doing this. If you don't know what came out last week, sorry, you're going to have to go to your grave without that knowledge. I'm sorry.
I did talk about briefly the $5 flash sale that was going on and the apology video.
Okay.
Yeah, where I don't know about you, but I picked up Soul Sacrifice Delta and Freedom Fighters for $9.84. It was a nice sale.
I grabbed Super Mega Baseball.
Nice. All right. So what dropped this week?
This week on PlayStation 4, you've got Aces of the Luftwaffe, which seems to be some sort of World War II air combat game. You can grab that for $4.99. There's Alien Shooter on PlayStation Vita as a digital title. You can grab that for $7.99. Arcade Archives, the latest in the Arcade Archives series on PS4. Terra Cresta for PS4 for $7.99. You can grab Let's see. Farming Simulator 15 is out on PS4 and PS3. It's a digital and retail title for the low price of $40 on PS3, $50 on PS4. Hyperdimension Neptunia U Action Unleashed on PlayStation Vita, digital/retail, $39.99. Let's see. And the last game, both alphabetically and I guess the biggest release of the week for sure, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on PS4, digital retail, $59.99. Let's see. You can also pre-order a couple things. You can pre-order Assassin's Creed Syndicate for $60, or the Gold Edition for $89. You probably don't need to pre-order that game digitally 5 months before release, but if that's up to you, I guess. You there, Malcolm?
Yeah, I'm here. You started roboting out pretty badly there.
Okay. Let's see. You can pre-order Rory McIlroy PGA Tour for $60. You can pre-order Madden NFL 16 for $60. Well, there's 3 editions that you can pre-order for Madden 16. The Standard Edition, which is, I guess, the standard game for $60. The Deluxe Edition for $70. The Super Deluxe Edition for $100 cool dollars. I can't imagine any reality where someone would spend $100 on an annual sports game, but I guess stranger things have happened. Let's see. If you pre-order, let's see. I want to see what's in here. It doesn't even say the Super. Let's see. The Deluxe Edition. It's ordered now to receive 32 Pro Packs. Yeah, this seems to be like Madden Ultimate Team stuff that you get with these editions. Anyway, and finally there is a couple of big DLC releases. I guess. I think Destiny's expansion, House of Wolves, is out for $20. Mm-hmm. If you care enough about that. Let's see what else. Life is Strange Episode 3 is out, $5, or of course free with your season pass. And that's pretty much it in terms of DLC or significant DLC. There's other nonsense stuff for other games, but that seems to be the gist of it there, Malcolm.
Alrighty. Well, with that in mind, and believe it or not, we actually got mail. So
what?
All right, Joe. Now, what is the new... We actually have a new address for emails going forward. So, Joe, what is the new address that we got here?
Mailbag at thefirmup.com.
That's once again, mailbag at thefirmup.com. That's where you send all your emails for us going forward. And, Jeff, just let us know what you feel, any questions, heck, even constructive criticisms. Send them all over there. And you can be like RK here, who writes in, been busy again the last few weeks, so sorry for not writing in on time. Hope this one makes it. Oh, you have no idea how much it made it by. Hope this one makes it on time. But I honestly don't have any good questions, so I'll talk about general things and have the guys discuss them rather than flat-out questions. First of all, did either of you see the Supergirl first look trailer? Joe, did you?
I have not, but I've heard great things.
Really? I've heard a lot of people disappointed.
That's because people are dumb.
So what have you heard about the trailer?
It just seemed like a fun story about a 20-something girl living as a superhero somewhere in Metropolis or something. Seemed like it was more fun than people wanted it to be, which is weird. I don't know. Like
okay.
It's not. Go ahead. Like it's not. What's his name? Zack Snyder's freaking Superman.
Oh God.
All right. Like things in that world should be happy and bright and colorful.
You say that, but didn't she get the red ring recently in the DC?
Like I said, that's the way things should be, Malcolm. Not the way things are.
Rage, but anyway, yeah, which, you know what, that's good to hear, because, you know, as soon as I heard the WB series, I was like, oh God, she's going to be in high school, there's going to be a love triangle, there'll be a friend named Chloe, it's going to be so weird, but, you know, if she's, like, actually a young adult trying to make it in an adult environment, you know what, I might be down for that.
Yeah.
Alright, sorry, I didn't get to see it either, so, oh, sorry about that, RK. Despite being filled with spoilers for the series, it's not spoilers, I really liked it.
Her name is Kara. No!
Wait, is that blonde hair? Oh, it's giving away everything. I hated the first picture they released of her. Yeah, it was kind of a silly picture. But seeing the trailer and seeing her in action, I am super pumped for it. People keep hyping Daredevil like it's the best show ever, but it's been underwhelming for me. Oh, well, I'm going to disagree with you there, good sir. I've been very slow to get through Daredevil only because I'm watching it with my wife, but we just recently saw episode 7, which is called Sticks, or Stick. Oh, that was such a great episode. Oh,
wait. Have you watched The Avengers yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I had some fake spoilers ready. Not. I was gonna throw upon you.
Well, you're an asshole, Joe. Don't get me wrong, I really like the show, and I have no problem waiting days or weeks but I have no problems waiting days or weeks between episodes. Seemed like it's a good drama show instead of a good superhero show. I think it's a bit of both, personally. But anyway, for that reason, I think I like Supergirl and Powers better for superhero shows, and for good drama shows. It has to go with Revolution as my favorite. I normally hate when they arbitrarily change characters, as I mentioned last time, in reference to a black Johnny Storm. But for the same reason, I like black Jimmy Olsen. Wait, Jimmy Olsen was in the Man of Steel?
I think he's in Supergirl. I don't know. Is he black in Supergirl? I don't know.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
No, wait. Jimmy Olsen is a woman in Man of Steel. Okay, that's right.
Wait, he is?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, man. There's so many things I've already just scrubbed out of my brain. Like, I scrubbed most of that movie out of my brain. I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's anyway, changing him into a black hunk. There's going to be there's a love triangle confirmed right here. Seems so completely opposite that it feels more like an alternate universe version, so I'm cool with it. Making Johnny Storm a Perry White black, yep, that he was, with the same personalities doesn't make sense because it seems like, let's make him black to make him hit big with minorities. Yep, totally agree with you there, buddy. So, although I love Lawrence Fishburne and Michael B. Jordan, I think...
Yeah, Supergirl.
I think making them iconic white characters just to change their color was dumb. Making Jimmy cool, good-looking, and black...
That is true. He's literally the opposite of a white dude. Like, he's cool, he's not...
He's amazing at basketball, he's a good dancer. It was a nice choice, because it let me know they had other changes in mind just for his skin tone. Okay, I like that. I also like how the Supergirl show seems more like a Moihei Shujo slice of life show. Malcolm will likely knows what I mean by since he watches a lot of anime. Yeah, it's pretty much, slice of life. It's like just like everyday stuff and I guess superhero things here and there. So, forgot to tell you guys, I got the plat for Type 0. Didn't call it Agito this time for you guys. We appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago. Joe just saw it. Absolutely love the game and the super depressing ending. It's like, I got the good ending and it was still more sad than the ending to final. That's pretty fucking terrible. My God. That game was like, they may as well have ended with them all committing suicide. My God. I won't spoil the ending to Agito. Oh, there goes the streak. But I'll say that you might want to have a bowl of onions in the room in case people see you cry. Also, I know neither of you care about Destiny, but the House of Wolves is dropping next week. I am beyond pumped. There's the guy. Hey, that was pumped, Joe. Oh, some reason my app just started to refresh. 1 second. I know Joe wouldn't watch the trailer for it if he had a choice in the matter, so I'm going to hope he is playing at his job and he can't escape. That's true. You have to do research, Joe.
Wait, playing what now?
So I'm going to hope that it was playing, I think he assumes that you work in the video game department at Best Buy and you have to be up to date on all the stuff.
Wait, what is he talking about?
The House of Wolves.
Oh, wait, House of Wolves.
With Destiny, yeah.
Oh, why would we play a trailer for DLC in the store?
Because he sells season passes there, Joe.
That never happened.
Yes, it has. My wife bought me a season pass for Assassin's Creed.
No, I mean a trailer for DLC playing at a store.
Oh.
Like, why would anybody?
I'll link the trailer for Malcolm just in case you hadn't seen it. I doubt you play the game, but I wanted you to see how much they've added to the game. And I've seen a little bit of it. I do watch those Destiny shows that Destin at IGN does, and it does sound like they added a ton more stuff. So I'll check it out. Maybe I'll get back into the game though. Witcher 3 literally is on my desk right now, so I don't know. Lastly, I'm going to spoil Avengers 2 for by talking about how Captain America reveals himself to be a woman. Black Widow is actually a transgender Hispanic man named Steven, and Ultron is Mickey Mouse in a robot costume. I see what he did there. Sorry we couldn't be more conversational there. We sort of just went together in this show here, just to get it done here and get back up to date. But yeah, Supergirl, maybe I'll take a look at it. I mean, I'm giving the Flash a chance.
Well, the thing about DC's TV shows is that they're significantly better than their movies. Aside from Gotham being kind of all their shows have been pretty good.
What the fuck is up with it? It's Gotham to me is they saw Lost and thought, hey, what if we make a story ridiculously stretched out? And no.
Yeah, I mean, Gotham, I don't think it's terrible, but it could be a lot better. I mostly watch it because I like Ben McKenzie as Jim Gordon.
I think a better story, did you ever see the concept art for a show that never got released called Gotham High?
No.
Oh, it was great. You would have seen a young Bruce Wayne Wayne and young Harley, Joker, Poison Ivy, and all of them go to the same high school. Like,
I'm gonna have to stop you there and say I don't want to hear anymore.
I'll send you a picture.
This sounds like the worst thing I've ever heard.
It's literally much, much better than Gotham is. But Arrow has been kicking ass. I still enjoy a good Arrow episode here.
Yeah, and I heard Flash is a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, they did Grodd recently. They had their season finale, so I'm like starting to catch up there. But yeah, I mean, and those shows are all really, really good. But Supergirl, yeah, I'll give Supergirl a chance. I'm sure, like you said, it'll be better than Man of Steel by a long shot.
It's gotta be, right?
It's like that. What the hell was that movie, Joe?
Terrible is what it was.
It was terrible. God, worst Superman. Like Avengers 2. Like we discussed this a while ago. That one of the best things that they did in Avengers 2 was they had the Avengers actually try to rescue people during the fights, which is what they're supposed to do because they're heroes.
Right. Well, the weird thing though about the Avengers though is that there are literally no stakes in the Marvel movies. It's like obviously they should try to prevent the civilian casualties, but sometimes when they're facing something like Ultron, sometimes like those things like they should fail sometimes too. Like not because they don't care like Superman didn't care. Like I'll just punch you through a building. It's like maybe sometimes Ultron should present them with an impossible choice, and someone like with like no civilians died on screen at all. It was so weird. It's like
not even the Doctor died.
It's like the one person died, and it was the only person cast without a multi-movie contract, so you knew he was going to be the one who died.
Well, that one actually shocked me because I didn't do that much research in this movie because I wanted to be surprised, and I was like, "Oh man!"
The thing about Marvel movies, like as much as I enjoy watching them, like they just reveal too much of each movie beforehand. Like you'll hear about casting news, and you'll hear about how many movies they're signed to. You'll see like 80 different trailers that show like 60% of the movie. Like how awesome would it have been to see that Hulkbuster fight without knowing that it was in the movie?
Oh yeah.
Like it was like in every freaking trailer for like a year.
But at the same time, it was a selling point for me to go see the movie, and I got some of the best parts of it were not in that trailer. I'll just say that much.
Oh, for sure. Like everything with the Vision was like made.
I was talking about the Hulk fight, but yeah, like the Vision was great in that one. Spoiler, he was great. But my God. But the thing about as much fun as the Marvel movies can be, like there are literally no stakes. Like nobody ever dies. That like the one person that's died in the movie, and it was one of the events. Well, to be fair, someone major has died in both Avengers so far.
Sure. I mean, and even then they got brought back. They got brought back for a TV show.
Well, true, but
it's got 2 seasons.
But at the same time, you didn't know he was coming back. It was still a shock.
I guess. But man, it like all right, we're just gonna go ahead and spoil the Avengers because it's been like if you haven't watched it yet, then you don't care enough to watch. But when you lift an entire city like a mile into the air, someone should die. Like civilians should die in the process of that happening.
Well, someone did die, Joe.
Civilians, they said.
Oh, civilian. Well, you don't know. Maybe some of them fell off. I mean,
like when that lady, on the bridge or whatever, when the bridge broke, and the 2 cars fell, and somehow both cars were saved. It's like, what?
Well, the thing is, if you show too many people dying, then you've gone from a PG-13 to an R.
Well, they don't. Not necessarily. People die in PG-13 movies all the time. Yeah, it's just that there should be points when they're facing a world-ending catastrophe. Like there should be points where the Avengers realize and struggle with the fact that you can't save everybody at all times.
Well, I will say that when the Hulk became Berserker and was going nuts in that city, I'm pretty sure he killed a few soldiers.
Well, I mean, yeah, but then I'm saying again, civilians.
Well, soldiers aren't civilians now. I would consider
they are literally not. They refer to everybody else as civilians. Have you not heard a military person? Like cops and soldiers are not civilians. That is the point of them.
Well, I would say anyone who's not a superhero is a civilian comparison.
Maybe, but that's still not the same. Before the movie, Ultron is probably my second favorite, probably my third favorite Marvel villain.
Really?
Behind Thanos and Doctor Doom.
Ooh,
Because-
you must be really depressed about this Fantastic Four.
I was holding on that, but
You have hope, okay.
Yeah, like one of the things that Ultron does in like the comics is like he kind of terrorizes, you know, a fictional Eastern European country in the comics as well, but like he succeeds in wiping out the entire population of that country, and the Avengers are like, well, we're fucking screwed, like, and they have to deal with not being able to stop Ultron before he does something horrible, and you know, and they struggle with that. Like that's something that I think was missing. Like I don't think he had to wipe out the entire population of a country, but he should have been able to succeed in some way before getting his comeuppance at the end of the movie. I think, which was disappointing that he did not. Like he was so snarky. Why is he so snarky? Why is he wisecracking robot?
I actually enjoyed that.
Oh my god.
Well, I guess the reasoning, and this is what my wife put together, who's not a comic book aficionado, but just love
He's a genocidal robot. Why is he so snippy?
I think because keep in mind, they changed the origin story where Hank Pym didn't make him anymore. It's now Tony Stark in conjunction with Bruce Banner, who somehow knows a lot about robotic AIs, I guess, despite working on only gamma radiation, but whatever. But I guess the way she saw it was like Ultron is essentially Tony's baby, so he has the personality somewhat of Tony Stark. Like
that doesn't make sense though, because the way it worked for Hank Pym is that he infused his brainwaves or whatever into Ultron, and that's what makes Hank Pym kind of struggle with Ultron on a personal level. It's like, is this some sort of deep rooted evil inside of me that has been taken to its extreme?
Yeah,
that's fine. But with Tony Stark, when he created him, like he literally just built a program. Like he didn't put his brainwaves into it or whatever. Like Ultron came out of the mind gem. Like there was zero Tony Stark in that.
Well, I don't know. Well, you
Like
can't.
all he did was remove it from the mind gem and put it on a server.
Yeah, but at the same time, he constructed that entire AI.
No, the AI was in the freaking in the mind gem.
The schematic, you know, he was doing something. It's not like he hit it, like tapped the gem and out came out Ultron.
I mean,
no, it was like.
I mean, by that measure, you know, freaking, Bruce Banner was working on it too. Why doesn't it sulk? Why doesn't he sulk after he does something bad?
Well, no, but it does Hulk. But Ultron did go into rage here and there, so I would say there's some Bruce Banner in there. Oh. Yeah, because it's like, you know, you remember that one scene when they're working on it, and Banner is like, you know, we should make it where it just spontaneously gets angry and goes into a rage sometime. Tony Stark was, of course, why would we want to do that? And it's like it's my baby too. But by the way, going off topic a little bit, Ant-Man. Is it weird that I'm excited for it just because it's been a while that I've seen a good origin movie for a superhero?
Yeah, because origin stories are usually pretty boring.
Well, no. The first Iron Man was really good. The first Thor was good. First Captain America was really good, and those were all excellent origin stories. Granted, I don't want to see Spider-Man again, but you know, I've never seen Ant-Man, so especially since this is like a whole new version of him, more or less.
Yeah, I mean,
where you know the final fight isn't with his wife. Yes, the sequel will be called Ant-Man 2: A Man's Rights, Lefts, and Upper. But anyway, he hits his wife later. But anyway, moving on. I think it looks good. How do you feel about Ant-Man?
It looks okay. I don't know.
Oh,
it looks okay.
I think it's gonna surprise people.
Maybe I'm no more excited for Ant-Man than I am for like Fantastic Four.
Ooh, I would disagree with that. I'll admit it's like since it's a new property, I don't know what to expect.
I have equal expectation.
Ooh, take that back, sir. There is quite the difference between Fox and whatever the hell and Fantastic and Marvel.
Well, it's not like Fox doesn't know how to make good superhero movies. So
yeah, once in a while they do a good one. But keep in mind, those are the same. They also put up some stinkers too, including some pretty legendary stinkers.
Yeah.
Yep. X-Men 3. That was great, wasn't it? Let's just kill off Cyclops, Professor X.
But they've made 4 really great X-Men movies.
All right. So the first 2, I'm assuming you're doing Days of Future Past. I didn't know if you were counting the Wolverine.
Okay.
Remember when they made the decision to have Deadpool's mouth sewn up? That was a great move. So true to the character. Okay, we've gone over, folks. Thank you very much for joining us on our return. Trust me, folks, this will everything in our power so that last week never happens again. But thank you so much for coming back to us here. We love all of you. Once again, this is the Firmware Update, episode 146. Thanks so much for joining us. Once again, if you want to write in an email to us, you can at mailbag at thefirmup.com. Email us whatever you like. And if you like the show and you use an Apple device, you can get us each and every week on the podcast app. Just hit that subscribe button and you'll have every episode as they come. On top of that, please leave us a 5-star review. That greatly helps us out on iTunes. You can also, if you have an Android device, find us on Stitcher Radio, which is a free app. Use that and get there and get every episode as they come, and you can just stream it right there on the app. If you'd like to download the app, then I'd recommend you try SoundCloud, or you go on to, you get a little app we use called Pocket Casts, as that'll get you each and every show which you can stream and download. You can also find us online. You can find us at thefirmup.com. Is that right?
Yes, man.
Okay. Gotta be sure. I've been out for a whole week. And you can also find us on Twitter, at PSMouth for me, at Wants23Joe, and at the Firm Up for the show. You can also find us on YouTube, where we try to keep that posted up with all the latest episodes. And Joe, is there anything else I'm forgetting?
No, sir.
Wonderful. Folks, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.
See ya.